Hey, shorty, what your name is? Do you have a man who you came with?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Welcome back, y'all. Street Academy Podcast, where we keep one foot in the academy and one foot in the streets. And we back, and we back, and we.
You are really giving like James Brown or something the way you were holding that mic just now.
You feeling me? You feeling me? You don't just say yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a sex machine.
Yeah.
Shout out. Yes, we are here and we back. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's all our faults. We just been I've been like, oh, we gotta shoot an episode. Oh, that mean I gotta edit it and I gotta do this. And oh gosh. This is too much. So yeah, we've been lazy, but we back. We about to shoot a few, and then y'all gonna get some more. Just bear with us until we can get bigger or people, because it really be taking. That's what I'm realizing too, Jackie. Like when I be listening to these podcasts, and especially not even the big ones like a Joe Rogan or like a like a Joe Rogan or like $1 million worth of game or something, like even the mid-level ones have whole production teams.
Oh, for sure.
It's a whole production team.
For sure.
It's like multiple cameras, multiple TVs, like the Dear Wifey podcast. I love Dear Wifey podcast.
And I need to get on that one.
Yeah, that's the one with the girl. You remember when the girl wig fell off?
That went viral? That was that one?
That was Dear Wifey podcast.
Okay.
I've been a fan of Dear Wifey for like a year and some change. So I've been a fan of her for like maybe 8 months. I started following her. So when I saw she was on the podcast, I was like, oh, this is gonna be funny. And then when that happened and it went viral, I was like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. But he has another podcast he produces called Hello Hubby, which is like the woman version of Dear Wifey, talking about relationships and stuff. And yeah, like it's teams, like it's a team of people. So I'm realizing what we doing is just
we get it. Yeah,
we doing the best we can with what we got.
And there it is. There it is. Thank you, Mariah. It's Mariah season right now.
It's Mariah season. It's Mariah's on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how's everything? How you been doing?
Listen,
how's the holiday season treating?
We here. We at the holidays. We at the time for vacations. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Like,
okay.
No more teachers, no more books. No more students' ugly looks.
No more students' ugly looks. Goodness, man. Yeah, I'm definitely ready to ready for the holidays. All right, so where you gonna be at? Are you gonna be
I'm gonna be here for a little bit, here in PA for a little bit. I'm gonna slide on into Atlanta for a little bit. Slide down to Florida for a little bit. So I'm gonna take full advantage. Yes. So
being in the South and where it's warm too.
Yeah. We don't go back to school until the last week of January. So it's a nice long reprieve. Yeah.
The last week of January. When do you get out for the summer?
For the summer, I think the first week of May or second week of May, something like that.
The last week of January is when you come.
Well, here's the thing. We don't acknowledge holidays. So like Labor Day, all them little, like President's Day, all them little days that people be getting off, we don't get those days off. So,
Okay. But dang.
Yeah.
You have a spring break?
We do have spring break. Yeah. So other than spring break, other than spring break, we don't get none of those other
break. That's a nice break, y'all.
Yeah, I think a lot of campuses do like Good Friday and things like that.
Right.
No, they are just like everybody got their own religious holidays and other sorts of things that they observe. So observe it within yourself, whether that means that you don't go to class or whatever you need to do.
Right.
And the rest of us who don't observe that day, we just gonna keep it pushing.
We're gonna keep it pushing. I like it. I understand. Okay. So you're gonna be down in, I think so we'll be down in Atlanta at the same time then. I think. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
slide on by. I'm gonna see Nipsey and Malcolm X in person. I can't quite see
Yeah.
who this is behind like the
Oh,
leaves,
yeah, it's
but
just a
you got
sister
somebody.
that's taking the she a queen, but she taking the chains off. That's
Okay,
all that is.
then.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Yeah. So I'm gonna come and see them in person while I'm there.
Because I don't think you've ever been to my house for real.
I don't think so.
I don't think you've ever been over here.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
yeah.
maybe we can do like a in person, like all three of us
Yeah,
in
I'm gonna wear
person type of
my my Rick James outfit. Be like, nice house, nigga.
And as I put your feet on my couch,
Yes.
your couch.
Yes. Let me find my big shoes so I could wear
Right.
them.
That's what's up. Well, I'll keep all the decorations up for y'all.
Oh
I got the decor. I got the Christmas decor happening. I'm excited. I'm hosting
yes.
Christmas this year with my family. So they
Okay.
coming. It's gonna be Christmas in the ATL this year.
Okay.
So
I'm a proponent of this, so you got to do it.
uh,
Go on down to the Target or maybe to the Old Navy. They
uh,
still got matching pajamas. So go ahead and get your matching pajamas, wear them with your
yeah,
family.
yeah. So my sister did it, right?
Uh-huh.
My sister did the matching pajamas for Thanksgiving. I
Mm-hmm.
typically don't do it because I always thought it was corny, right? I always thought it was
You're a
corny.
hater. Yeah,
I'm a
you're a hater.
hater.
Go on. Mm-hmm.
So
Go
first of all,
on.
you're a hater and you're ugly. I was just like, this is corny. The matching pajamas.
Mm-hmm.
But then I did it, and I felt a little cozy inside. I'm not gonna even lie. Like I
Oh, you
felt
did.
I felt a little
You
warm inside.
did.
The only thing that made me mad was my sister told me, she was like, okay, I'm doing matching pajamas for Thanksgiving. Tell me your size. Tell me, Jael's size or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I wear this. She wears that. I'm thinking, I'll say, so she's like, all right, cool. And I'm thinking, well, you don't want to wear the matching pajamas. I don't want to wear them or whatever. So I guess she's going to get them. I'm thinking, $20, $30 or something for the pajamas or whatever. So she was like, okay, cool. And then, we're going to do this, do that. I'm like, all right, cool. You want to do all that. And I'm thinking, okay. And she sent me an invoice for like $150. I was like,
oh,
what? How much are these pajamas?
Were they handmade, hand sewn?
First of all,
were they from Wakanda?
And I actually plan on doing a episode with my sister. We've been talking about it, so I got her coming on in a few weeks. But yes, she had them like what you call it, custom made. She had these.
Well, then that
First of all,
explains it.
my sister's a very like, me, I be chilling. I be like, I'm, you know what I'm saying, whatever, everything kind of cool, chilling. Like I'm low key, she's like
high key,
high class. The amount of money she spend on certain things, and I mean, she got it. She an engineer, whatever.
Listen. They said it ain't tricking if you got it. So get it, girl.
Like, I mean, she got nice stuff.
Okay.
And so I forget about that when she be wanting to do stuff. She be like, well, Jonathan, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. Like, yeah, let's cool. And I'm thinking this when we was growing up, you know what I'm saying? And I forget that this is a whole different sister.
Oh yeah.
Like this is a sister that like nice thing.
She done moved on up to the east side.
Moved on up. Right?
To the deluxe apartment with the deluxe prices.
The west side is the best side. 90s California love.
Yeah.
So I gotta remember that when she want to do stuff. But yeah, it was like $150. So I paid or whatever, but it ended up being really nice though.
Good.
It ended up being really nice. So I think we're gonna do the matching pajamas for Christmas too.
Okay.
So yeah.
I saw the matching pajamas at Target, the ones that I personally got. They had all my favorite things. They are green, which is my favorite color. They had the Black Santa on them.
Right.
They were on sale.
Yeah.
And they had one that fit Belafonte.
Oh,
and
nice.
For anyone who does not know, Belafonte is my dog.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be stepping out with his green Black Santa pajamas. Yes.
Let's go, Bella Fizzle.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait when we all took pictures in our matching pajamas. So whenever my sister send me the pictures, I'll put them up.
Okay.
For the holidays, and then I think we're gonna do them for Christmas too. So
okay.
yeah,
All
so
right.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it,
Okay.
man. So like, it's been a lot of speaking of holidays,
Mm-hmm.
and just like everything that's been going on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a crazy couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has.
It's
It
been a
has.
wild.
It
It's been a
has.
wild couple of weeks, Dr. Ada. Like,
Listen, Black people been in the
seriously,
news for
we've been
all kinds of
in the
stuff.
news. In the news. So I know one of the things that was interesting, and I love, people love the episode where we just going. Like we just
Mm-hmm.
start talking crazy on whatever popular topic is out. Um and
Mm-hmm.
I know one thing I was actually while I was waiting for us to get together to shoot this, one of the things that they was talking about on CBS Good Morning was Brittany Griner,
Mm-hmm.
sister coming back, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And how I feel about it, I'm happy. She should have never been in prison in the first
Yeah.
place over in
Mm-hmm.
Russia. I'm
Yeah.
glad she's coming back. I'm glad that Joe Biden actually stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
Even past, like, I thought, like,
I was
because we weren't
surprised by
talking
that.
about, I was
Yeah, I was
surprised because we weren't
surprised.
talking about it as much. I thought it was just gonna be off of
Yeah.
their radar, and Shorty was just gonna be stuck for the next 7
Mm-hmm.
years. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think she had 8 to 10 years or something. I thought she
Mm-hmm.
was gonna be stuck. And
Mm-hmm.
literally out of nowhere, it just started popping up like
Yeah.
Griner's gonna be released. They trading
Mm-hmm.
her for this dude and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's definitely a win for Biden,
Yeah.
I think. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
definitely a win.
I wanna continuously be on the hater Biden train on GP generally, because that's the train that I'm on for 99.9% of politicians.
Right.
And, I just think that of all the Democratic candidates who were up for election during the primaries way back when, he was just like the very bottom of the barrel for me. I know, there are obviously lots of people who are like, he's my first choice. But I think, definitely not for me. He was not my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth choice.
Yeah, for sure.
And I struggle with it because I'm happy that she's home. I also feel like she never should have been locked up. And this is like someone coming from someone who knows nothing about WNBA, NBA, NFL, all the other acronyms I know, or as your boy Dave Chappelle might put it, the alphabet. Those are the real alphabet people. I don't know nothing about those alphabet people. But I obviously feel like she should have never been locked up. But I also, as it relates to Joe Biden, like I feel like so much of the stuff that he is getting credited for is just like symbolic. Like you put a Black woman on the Supreme Court, you brought a Black woman home. I want more substantive things, like things that are actually changing my life, and not like, oh, this like symbolic representation that we have. But again, like I'm holding that at the same time that, I'm just glad that she's not in such a horrible situation. And, lots of people have made the observation that, if she wasn't a queer Black woman, that she wouldn't have been like the situation would not have unfolded in the same way. And I mean, I received that. Like, I don't, if she were a man, if she were straight, like if she were white, like I don't know that things would have played out the same way for her that they ended up playing out over the course of time while she was there. So
right. That's interesting. You brought that out, and I'm glad you talked about the substantive pieces, because a lot of times, particularly presidents and politicians, they can do things for individual people. Yeah. And for much of the public, they use that as evidence for change. And that's not necessarily the case. You have these, like you said, these symbolic, displays of progress But what does that mean on a structural level, right? You know, you can have a 1963 March on Washington, but if a legislation don't come after that, it was just a party. You know, it was just a bunch of people talking. You know what I'm saying? You can let, you know, Nelson Mandela go. You can free him after 27 years in the South African apartheid prison, South African prison. But if apartheid don't end, you just free somebody that shouldn't have never been there in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, what's going to happen afterwards? What is the substantive change going to be? It's okay to do something symbolic if it's going to be linked to a 1964 Civil Rights Act, ending of apartheid. Like what's going to be the thing that comes after that? And I was listening, I like Sherry Shepherd's new show. I know she replaced Wendy, and I used to watch Wendy for the mess, but I ain't really like how messy Wendy.
She was messy. She was messy.
I used to watch it though.
Of course.
I still watch it, even though
I actually was listening live because I was living in New York at the time when Whitney Houston called in.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes, I was listening live and I was like, is this real? And it surely was.
And I remember when Wendy was on the radio, because I remember I was living in Huntsville, Alabama, and I was kicking it with this one sister, and I was at her house, and she was like, "Have you ever heard of Wendy Williams?" I was like, "I don't know who that is," and she started playing her, and she was like, "I love it." She said, "How you doing?" And she, you know, she had gotten me into this was like 2006,
yeah,
so this was like way back. And that's when and then a couple years later, I saw she had a show and all that other stuff. So, but I like Sherry Shepherd. Like she brings a different feel, but still hella funny, still, you know, brings on the celebrity guests and have funny stories and stuff like that. So anyway, so Al Sharpton was on there the other day. So I was listening to it on my phone while I was grocery shopping. And he talked about Brittany Griner, and he talked about how a lot of people don't know the reason why she was going to Russia in the first place.
Yes.
And the reason why, he said, was because a lot of WNBA, obviously we know that WNBA players don't get paid like NBA players, and they're grossly underpaid, especially when you look at how, you know, they don't generate as many ticket sales or jersey sales as NBA players, but they're still way far more underpaid than NBA players. And so a lot of them have to play for other teams and play for other countries in order to help supplement their income. You know what I'm saying? They got to play overseas. And so that was the reason why she was going over there in the first place. And so if there is some type of structural conversation that we can have about the sister, it's the gender wage gap.
Yeah,
we have to do better about that, because this gender wage gap is the larger reason why she had to be over there in the first place, and thus why all this happened. Had she not had to find other ways to get income and to you know, even get close to what the NBA players are making, she wouldn't have had to be over there. She could have been, you know, she could have been at home with her family.
Right, you know right. And I mean, I get that, you know, because people who are more into sports and who like know more about the dynamics have shared like what you said, as far as like obviously the ticket sales and, you know, just like I guess the money that they generate from advertising or whatever that might be that folks get in the NBA, because you can have I don't know, whatever $1 million contract you have with your team, but then you still get money from, you know, like your portions of what do you call those? Like the contracts that you sign with like the shoes and all that. That sounds so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Endorsements.
Yeah, you can get like all these old endorsements and whatnot. And so I think that, you know, the opportunity for that just doesn't exist in the same way in the WNBA, and I get that. But I still think that there's a more productive way to have this conversation if we're talking across industries. So the WNBA is not isolated. Like we can also talk about teaching, we can talk about nursing, like we could talk about like any of these gendered careers where, because they are gendered, women are just paid less. I remember, so I'm gonna get on my nerd box just for a minute, but I teach a history of education class, and we talk about like why most teachers are women in that class. And really, like when schools were just starting, so you have like public schools just starting, men were teachers, but you could pay women like a fraction of the percent that you paid a man. So people would staff entire schools with women with the salary that you would be able to pay just one man. And so I know like when we get into those conversations, like my students are like, oh my gosh. But then it's like, and it then just like continued to perpetuate. Like it was just like, we just not gonna pay as much to teachers. And when we talk about how little teachers make, how little nurses make in comparison to doctors who are mostly, mostly men versus nurses who are not mostly men. When we talk about teachers getting paid versus administrators who, are more men than women, like WNBA versus NBA, like this is a through line that carries across industries.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, and that's why I feel like this, like you said, it's not just an NBA thing. This is something that could help, particularly the feminist movement, Black feminist movement, any type of gender movement in this country. This could definitely be a launching pad for that. And so I'm hoping that, it doesn't just stop with Brittany Griner, but that it's something that that continues, because like sports and it's actually interesting now that I'm thinking about it. Sports has been kind of in the forefront with a lot of structural change, a lot of like racial conversations, gender conversations that are having that we're having, that I think is actually good, because everybody, sports is kind of one of those things that kind of breaks down barriers. You go to a Hawks game, a Falcons game, or whatever game, you'll see like, all people from all groups, what I'm saying, all walks of life or whatever, you'll see them there. And so I think it is good for a change to kind of come through sports. And it is actually making me think of the story of my boy, prime time, Deion Sanders, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, I mean, y'all know, like y'all, and because we both went to HBCUs, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I think that this is a good conversation, because we both went to HBCUs. We understand the significance of HBCUs. We're pro HBCUs. We are, but then at the same time, I also understand sports. So, and I know you're not really a sports person, but I understand how coaches work too, how football coaches work, and how those changes can happen. And so I'm interested to know what you think about this Deion Sanders move, because for him to be Deion, prime time, all this other kind of stuff, and then decide, I retire, and then go into coaching, and then, go to the HBC, go to Jackson State, you know what I mean? They had a low record, the losing record, and go from being big time, living in Atlanta, living in all these places, being big time, to now living in Jackson, Mississippi, and taking a huge pay cut, you know what I'm saying, from what he was making in the NFL. And building up that team and telling people, hey, we need to go back to HBCUs. We need to build up the Black college sports teams and get eyes on us and do. And so he talking all this, and it's getting there, this getting the culture excited. Yeah. HBCU. Now more people go. Now these big high school stars are going to say, oh, I don't have to go to University of Florida, University of Georgia, University of Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama. Like, I can go to a HBCU and get looks and still go to the NFL now. You know what I'm saying? So now this is like, oh, this is great for us. It'll bring money to the community. And 3 years later.
Was it 3 years? It felt like so much shorter than 3 years.
Yeah,
but I guess
he was
maybe
there
it
for about
was.
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there for about 3 years. And he was like, all right, y'all, I'm out. What y'all need me to do before I pack up? So, and go to Colorado. You know what I'm saying?
Colorado. I wish him well in Colorado.
And I was like, a lot of people was like, okay, if he would have went to Auburn or Georgia or like a big school, Clemson, like, okay, we would have understood because clearly you're making crazy money. That's helping your career. You're going to Colorado, like they got a worse record than Jackson State got right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to know what you think, and then I'll talk about it from the football college.
I think part of how I feel is just that I'm just not into sports. And, I'll say it like Omarion said, I don't feel no ways about it. I don't feel no ways.
Yeah.
I feel like this doesn't feel unusual to have people like jump on the wave of Black people, like a Black bandwagon, like HBCUs, just like Black votes, like Black whatever, and get people hyped for a personal benefit and then parlay that into something else.
Right.
We have seen that so many times. I think because of the special love I have for HBCUs, I wish that HBCUs were not used in that way. But honestly, I feel for the students. I feel for people who bought into that. I don't know, maybe I'm just like a hater and a skeptic, but I don't follow sports enough to like not have seen that coming, but I follow life enough to know that people often will be like, give me your Black vote, give me your Black support. And then once they get it and they're able to parlay that into something else, they quickly parlay that into something else. So
got you. Yeah, I think that I do agree with you on that. That's something that we got to keep in mind, that that is a possibility. And we don't know if Deion was trying to do that. We don't know. We don't know exactly what his call was. But I guess for me, from the HBCU side, yeah, I'm like, it's messed up. How you gonna tell everybody? How you gonna big up? How you gonna tell everybody, support HBCUs, do this, do that, blah, 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 and then get here and then leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, so were you just one of the ones that was using that to get people excited, to get people to support you, to get these top recruits, and then once you get here and get what you want from them, then you leave? You know what I'm saying? Was that just all talk? And so I'm kind of like you in that way. Like, I'm very skeptical. And because I'm pro HBCUs, I'm like, anything that we can do to help bring visibility, to help bring dollars, to help increase the status and the reputation of HBCUs, like, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? But then thinking about it from a football standpoint and from a career advancement standpoint, I'm like, I don't know what his overall goal was. I imagine that Deion Sanders' life goal is not to coach for HBCU. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is, but I don't think that's what it was. So from a coach and from a business and career standpoint, technically he came to the school. He promised and he over-delivered. Like, he got them two championships. Two SMAC championships. And he took them from being a losing team to a darn near undefeated season. He brought crazy money. He got them on ESPN. Somebody, I think I had I screenshotted this. So I'm gonna read this, but it was just saying like all the things that Deion Sanders did. And it said the economic impact of Deion Sanders being at Jackson State. I don't know exactly how true this is. It's just something on the internet, so it's not cited. So, but it said he brought $30 million to the city of Jackson, $9 million just for 2022 to Jackson State homecoming, $4 million for the classic. He was the number one recruiting class in HBCU history. He signed the first 5-star recruit to an HBCU, most number of quality prospects to commit to an HBCU. He got an ESPN TV deal with SWAC, $120 million over 10 years, 125 games aired, I guess, for HBCUs throughout the 2022 season. So he did a lot. He over-delivered.
Well, let me say this, that I don't think I'm hearing in the conversation about Deion Sanders, which is that HBCUs have been experiencing a renaissance of sorts before Deion and will continue after Deion. And part of that is the sort of racial awakening that's been happening in the country at large. Like when we think about the impact of the Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of that has been students thinking about where they go to college. I know that I've had conversations with friends who, have kids who are in grade school, who at this point are like, I don't think it's worth it for me to send my kid to this top prep school where they're the only Black kid. I think I'm going to send my kid to a school that has a lot more Black students. Maybe it's not the top school in the city, but I don't have to worry about them facing these sorts of racial slurs or microaggressions or whatever else. And that has been carried, the number of applications for people going to HBCUs has been on the uptick. I can't tell you how many HBCUs I've heard of over the past several years that have set record after record in terms of people applying, enrollment, et cetera. And this was all happening before Deion Sanders.
That's a good point.
I think some of these sports statistics we can certainly give him credit for, but I also think that he was a beneficiary of this wave that was happening even before he started coaching.
And that's true, because there have been coaches and people, even Master P was doing a whole, move. And some people are now questioning him and his son, because I think his son ended up leaving the HBCU and going to a bigger school. So, but there has been a push for a while. So you're absolutely right. It's definitely not Deion. He's probably exacerbated and made it bigger with his presence, but not necessarily, he's not the sole reason why there's been this overwhelming increase in Black college student enrollment and athletes. Absolutely, definitely agree with you there. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of feel like the brother came and he did his job, and he did well, and he brought a lot of eyes. It would have been nice for him to at least stay for a whole graduating class. So at least 4 years, you know what I'm saying? I think would have been appropriate. But he did what he said he was going to do. He completed it. It wasn't really much more he could do, I think. 2 back-to-back championships. That's good. You know what I'm saying? Almost, if not undefeated season. That's good. He bringing so many people, increasing the morale of the city and of the college. I mean, I think he did his job. And if his goal now is to go to a bigger school, get paid more money, et cetera, then I'm not too mad at him. You know what I'm saying? As much as I love HBCUs, as much as I would love, I think the issue is that it shouldn't just be one. I think that's why we're upset, because it's like Deion's leaving. Who else is going to fill that spot? And it's like the whole race or the whole, issue of HBCU sports or Black colleges or whatever shouldn't be on his shoulders. We need more Deion Sanders. We need more former, college I'm former college, former NFL players, NBA players, sports, icons, whatever, to invest back into HBCU. So when the Deion Sanders does leave, there's another one that can come and continue that tradition and, do all those things. So I think that is probably one of the bigger issues, is that there's not enough people doing that.
Well, let me not hate on that immediately. I feel like that's also true. But I think specifically as it relates to Deion, at least this is, I think, what I'm picking up, that people feel like they were lied to. And that is fair. I remember
I don't understand how, because he did what he said he was going to do.
Well, this is the thing. I remember like being in situations where, whether that was like as a student and having like a college president come in, or being in a job and having like a director or a president or whatever come in, and that person from the get-go saying, these are my objectives, and once those objectives have been achieved, then my work here is done. And so they kind of set up like, this is my 5-year plan. At the end of 5 years, if these things are done, then my work is done. If they take shorter than 5 years, then my work might be done early. If they take longer than 5 years, then my work might be done a little later. But this is my stuff, and then I'm on my way out. Versus other people who come in who are like, I am here for y'all. I am about this life. I'm gonna be with y'all because I believe this mission of what's going on here is so important. And then something better comes along and they leave. And I think with Deion Sanders, at least what I'm picking up on, is that he said, like, we need to have this HBCU culture, and HBCUs are so important, and we need to have like all these, I don't know, things about HBCUs, and then he eventually leaves. Like, that makes him look like a liar.
I guess maybe it's lying by omission, because he never said he was gonna stay. He never said he was going to stay. He never said he was going to leave. He just said, these are the things that need to be done. And he didn't lie. These are things that need to be done. And these are things that he addressed. And these are things that he made better while he was there. I think as a community, when we see that, I think sometimes we still have that messianic, like, mindset sometimes of the one person. And it's got to be this one. You know what I mean? Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, Du Bois, like the one. And then we follow this person. And it just goes back to my earlier point, like, it shouldn't be that. It should be more coming and more coming and more coming. So I understand people may feel that he lied, but I don't think it was a blatant lie if it was, because he never said it. It was if it was a lie, it was a lie by omission. And I don't think he did, because he did. It was in a short amount of time, but in that short time, he did everything that he said should be done for HBCUs. And after he did it, and he got, $5 million over $300,000. That's the salary difference that I'm hearing.
That's a significant increase.
I mean,
that's a significant increase.
I mean, your salary might be cool, not to hate on where you at, but if you
it ain't $5 million, I'll say that.
Just saying, if it was 1 million, you might be.
It ain't that either.
I'm pretty sure if a university was offering you 1 million, you would be like, this unapologetically Black class, I know y'all was excited about it. Let's try to do something over Zoom or something. Let's see if we can create a book club or something.
Listen, I'm gonna have to figure something out. I'm gonna have to be like, listen, here's the book list. Best of luck.
Best of luck. I'll come back and teach it for free during the summer.
Something.
You gonna probably try to make some adjustments when the dollars come in.
When I walk in with my shades and my fur coat, they will know what's up.
And Belafonte in a bag. So.
Exactly. He gonna be in his own Gucci bag.
In a little Gucci bag. Unapologetically Black.
Yes. Speaking of lying football players,
Oh my God.
Your boy didn't win.
That was a good transition. That was good.
Yeah, your boy did not win.
Man.
He didn't make it.
He
But
didn't
he
make
came real
it.
close.
He came too close.
Yeah,
Them numbers was too close. Herschel Walker should not have been that close.
Yeah.
Coming into the Senate.
Yeah.
You know what was the funniest thing I saw? So you seen Harlem Nights, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you remember in Harlem Nights, the the boxer that used to stutter?
Yes.
He would come into the into the Sugar Ray's joint. So I saw a meme that said, "This how Herschel Walker talk." This is how Herschel Walker talk. When the boxer was like, "Sugar, I'm the champ tonight, and I'm gonna beat his ass."
First of all, don't disrespect the boxer like that. Don't disrespect the boxer like that.
Oh God. Because I was crying. When I tell you I was crying.
Yeah, don't, like the boxer, don't disrespect him like that, because Herschel couldn't even.
He couldn't even form a sentence.
He couldn't even. I think it was the day before the election when I saw like that snippet of whatever little stump speech he was giving, talking about he doesn't even know what pronouns are. I don't know what pronouns are. I was like, I know what you were trying to do, but it didn't quite land the way you thought it would, sir.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if he was trying to be like relatable. But most people I know what pronouns are.
I think it was hella relatable for people who are
who was at the rally.
Yeah, exactly. All them, almost 50% of people who voted for him, it was very relatable for them. So I don't know what is going on in Georgia where so many people voted for this man.
Well, I don't know, because according to my taxes and in the state of Georgia and Florida, I am a Florida resident. Okay, so talking to the state of Georgia, if y'all see this podcast episode, I am a Florida resident. I am not a Georgia resident. I did not vote because I'm a Florida resident, and so my taxes, my taxes are for the federal government and whatever the state of Florida decide that they want to do. But I did not vote because I'm not a Georgia resident. So
there it is.
That'll help me out. Next.
Republicans, y'all hear that? FBI, y'all hear that?
Y'all hear that? Don't send me nothing.
Right.
2023. You understand?
Right.
I'm no longer a Georgia resident.
Maybe that's why he came so close. All of y'all defected to a few states over.
Yeah,
including myself.
Right, because when the job said, when the job was like, oh well, Florida ain't got no state taxes. Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Stacey. I ain't gonna be able to vote for you.
That is correct. That is correct.
I'm a Florida resident now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he shouldn't have came that close. But he came way, way, way too close. And when I looked at the numbers, Tesla Figaro, I follow her on IG, and she was showing the map. It was what we always recognize. This, Georgia red. Red is this pillow. But Atlanta super blue, Macon blue, Savannah blue, and so you have these big spots of blues with these extremely large concentration of Black people that are really what kind of helps it in terms of being being one of those states that can go one way or another sometimes. So I forgot what she said, but she said something like, there are certain swing states, but I don't know if Georgia is a swing state. She called it something else, and like how it ends up showing, what it's going to be in terms of voting. A lot of people, there was a lot of people who blamed certain people or certain groups for why Reverend Warnock won, but Stacey Abrams didn't win. And is it a male, is it still that people prefer to see a man in office over a woman. And then some people was blaming Killer Mike. They say, oh, you was caping. You know, you had Reverend Warnock at the swag shop, but you ain't have, you know, the good sister Stacy at the swag shop. You know, you wasn't you supporting her like you was supporting Reverend Warnock. So
the people got a point. Yeah, the people have a point. And I don't know if I would necessarily say, you know, this overt that he, you know, overt support of Warnock versus not having support of Stacey Abrams, but he definitely was talking pretty favorably about Brian Kemp. And I think that's the issue that I have with him.
Yeah. The thing about Killer Mike is and I remember, I think we've talked about this on the episode before. He wasn't going for Brian Kemp at first, right? When he first got into office, he wasn't, you know, looking for that. But when Brian Kemp got in office, he said, you know, he likened that to when Lyndon B. Johnson got in office. And Dr. King was like, okay, well, if we got a Southern Democrat and Lyndon B. Johnson was ridiculously racist. I mean, the N-word would just fly out of his mouth.
Yep.
And Dr. King was like, oh, well, this is power, so I need to negotiate with power right now. You know what I'm saying? And it was through Lyndon B. Johnson and those negotiations between King and the civil rights, you know, committees and SNCC and SCLC that the legislations were passed. And I remember Killer Mike saying, if this is who got voted in the office or stole the office essentially the first time, then this is who I got to deal with. And so he went and he brokered deals with Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp gave him money for programs that he started in Southwest Atlanta that's still providing jobs and opportunities for the people, poor working class people in Southwest Atlanta right now through a lot of Killer Mike's programs. So they were able to create a deal with each other. So Brian Kemp has been helping Killer Mike financially in that way and allowing for him to be able to move and do the things he wants to do. I think in return, because of that, Killer Mike is like, I can't be loyal to his op. You know what I'm saying? I got to deal with this man. I don't necessarily got to tell people to vote for him because he never said vote for Brian Kemp. He never said I support Brian Kemp. But I can't ride with his op because that don't fly. Politically, like economically, like it's just not good for my agenda. If this is the person in power and I got to deal with this man to get the stuff I need to get done for my community, then at the very least, I can't start caping for his op. So, in that way, I'm kind of like, I know that puts him in an interesting position.
I mean, finances are what they are, economies are what they are. You know, if I would love to know that bottom line figure on how much he was able to get from Brian Kemp that allowed him to be like, this is the number that I need to not ride for Stacey. I'm just kind of curious what that bottom line number is.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is, but I know that through whatever him and Brian Kemp has been doing, Killer Mike has been able to do a lot of work. And because Killer Mike has been able to do a lot of work, it's allowed for the current mayor, I forgot his name, but the current mayor of Atlanta, Andre Dickens.
Yes.
Andre Dickens. He's been doing a lot of work and, you know, helping to kind of create balance with this hyper gentrified Atlanta. So I don't know if what I got to do for my larger people means I got to not support Stacey Abrams.
Oh, we need a politics episode to come up.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we might need to get Omeretta on here and tell us what is and isn't Atlanta. Because, you know, when we talk about like Blackness and class in Atlanta and the way money moves and who gets in a position to get money to do things that's a whole nother conversation. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this was good. This was big.
Mm-hmm.
This was
Mm-hmm.
big. This was good. This was good. We talked about a lot of stuff, man. Listen, whatever y'all think about these topics, let us know. Holla at us, man. Via IG, YouTube comments, whatever. Let us know what you think. Whether we right, wrong, indifferent, whether we missing some parts of the conversation. But I think it's just important for us to see what's going on in popular culture, see what's happening, what that means for our people, what that means for our advancement. Yeah, that's it. Anything else on me?
That's good. My heart and mind is clear.
Hearts and minds are clear. Been another episode, y'all. Street Academy Podcast, where we keep one foot in the academy and one foot in the streets. And we out.
That got their feet upon the neck of the haters, the game and the devil like came in.